In this series, we're going to be building an app that generates $1,000 a month of passive income. In this episode, we are going to talk about the prototype. Hey, welcome back for another episode in this passive income challenge. In the previous episode, I talked about how I came up with an idea for an app that I'm going to start building and how I was able to validate that on a technical and user level. What I want to try to do is have as much iteration as possible. I'm not going to just go all in on a specific design until I've gotten a good amount of feedback on the approach I'm taking. The point of this prototype is going to be to familiarize myself with the APIs and the technology, as well as kind of what the map interface is like, how easy it is to do things with it, how I could maybe design this later. This is going to be almost a throwaway app, but it's something that will greatly inform what goes into the first version of the design. So what I decided to do was to hack this together as quickly as I possibly could. What that meant was I looked at a bunch of examples of map applications just doing different things like autocomplete and plotting points and drawing lines and so forth. And I just cobbled together a basic version of the app. What that meant is I'm not starting from scratch, making a brand new project, taking time to scaffold things out and stuff like that. I didn't want to waste time doing that at the moment. The idea of this prototype will be essentially a throwaway. This is going to show me how I can interact with the Google APIs, how I can use React in the process, how I can hit the flight APIs that I'm working with, and how I can basically process that data to display it on the map in the way that I want. Okay, with that said, I want to show you the demo that I've been working on. So I'm going to type in where I'm coming from, and then I'll just select Salt Lake City, and then I'll say to Berlin, for example. It has some basic autocomplete functionality. I need to obviously have a better user interface than what's going on here, but eventually we'll get there. Okay, so what you can see is Manchester would be $5 more, Paris would be $32 less. So basically our flight is $310 if we fly directly to Berlin, but if we fly to Paris first, we can spend a few days there and then fly on to Berlin and save $32. The core value of this app is already kind of functional, which is really cool. And we'll be able to refine that a lot more as we go. So with this new prototype, we have a much clearer idea of what this user interaction is going to look like. And it's going to allow us to build a more reflective design in the next steps that is going to incorporate some of the technology and data that I'm getting back from the endpoints that I wasn't aware of at the previous stage of this project. Because we've built this out, I've already experienced working with the Google Maps API, working with autocomplete, working with these flight APIs and processing it all. And it's going to really make it quick to build the next version of the design. It also is allowing me to think about how the user is going to go through this flow. And so I started to build out the user experience flow. And what I'm trying to do here is just think about all of the options that the user is going to be subjected to and what they're going to have to choose as they go through the app. At each point that they have a choice or where they can enter something, I need to fork that into a couple possibilities of different flows. So for example, when they enter the from, like where I'm coming from Salt Lake City, I can either go, enter a to city, or I can go to anywhere. So I need to handle both of those states. And because I'm thinking through basically all of these different states, I'm allowing myself to optimize for the final goal, which is to get them to book the flight. My main goal is to cut down the number of interactions to booking the flight as much as possible. Anything in between that is going to be friction that might reduce conversion rate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out how to display this UX. Once I've got a good idea how I want to display this information, then I can start getting feedback on these designs. I think it's going to be easier at this stage of the flow to just start working with users and getting feedback on these sketch mocks rather than starting to build it out, because I don't want to have to redesign the app and the code too much, and it's much easier to just change things up in Sketch at this point now that I know the basic parameters of what we can go into the app. So the design that I'll be building is going to depend on how users interact with it and if they understand it, if it makes sense to them. And once we have feedback on what to do there, then we can start building a solid app and actually getting users trying the real thing. Okay, so in the next episode, we will be talking about that mock-up phase, and we'll be talking about getting the user interaction tests and getting feedback. So I'm excited for that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.